Okay.
Thank you for that. Can can you speak a little bit about waveform, because I'm trying to wrap my head around what waveform actually is.
Okay. Waveform was invented by a man named Bob Dratch in Colorado back in the mid 90s. And he actually coined the word waveform. He put it into a book that they copyrighted and everything else like that, and he told how it is. Through him, I learned a lot, and he was able to do things that you just can't hardly believe that you could do from science until you actually seen it take place. But if you had a glass of water sitting in front of you, and you were able to take a waveform of that glass of water, then what you would capture, it's electromagnetic, it's digital, and you would capture an invisible glass of water that has the exact same, the glass has the same precise number of atoms with the same mistakes and everything else in it. And the water would be the exact same number of molecules of water in it would be precisely the same. And we are just one step away, which I think it's already happened on Earth. I'm just about certain that you could duplicate things. You could just take a car, take a waveform of it, poof, you got another one, works perfect. We don't need to go into manufacturing or creating anything. We can use waveform. Waveform looks differently. It looks like a sine wave signature, but a sine wave signature is usually we see it as a little line. But it still is moving in that kind of way, but it's much bigger around. It's like a bigger thing going around. And the surface is extremely complex. It's almost like the surface of the Earth, where you have trees and rocks and all kinds of things on the surface. They're all there. And all those things that are there make up what makes up that glass of water. Or it's a very complex thing, and it's constantly changing. We have learned how to do it, and you do it using Tesla coils and waveform. And that way of doing it has been used around the world. Though Bob Dratch has the copyright on it, and the CIA also has the copyright on it now, but it doesn't matter. These are things you can use in your meditation. And so if you really want to know what something is, like okay, I'll just tell you a little story, okay? There was a woman in Sedona here. I'm not going to use her name because I didn't ask her. And I just saw her, though, after 15 years. I just saw her about 2 weeks ago. We were talking. And Bob Dratch invented a machine that would heal almost any disease in the world in 2 minutes. And cancer, 2 minutes, and it's gone. Usually, unless it's really, really, really bad, it might have to do it 4 or 5 times. And so she came to me, and she had a tumor in her stomach the size of a football of cancer. And the doctor said, we can't do anything about this. It's too big. We can't get in there without breaking it, and it'll go all over your body. So there's nothing you can do. So she came to me. She'd been in my classes, and because I talked about it in there, that we have a light. It's just a little light that you shine on the area, and it penetrates right into the body, and it changes it kills the cancer cells very rapidly, 2 minutes. So the first day we did it, she went back to the doctor, and the football that was about this big went down to about half size.
Wow.
So we did it again, and it went down further in size. And she went to the doctor each time, and he says, I don't know what you're doing, but this is impossible. Cannot happen. Well, it does happen. And then she got down to where it was about the size, a little smaller than a golf ball. And she had to leave. She says, I can't help it. I got to go. And I says, well, you can use your Merkaba and the things that you know and you were taught, so that when I turn this light on right now, this is right after I got done using it for her, I says, I'm going to go through it again, and you memorize how tell your Merkaba to memorize how to do it. And so she did. And then she had to leave. And then she went out wherever she had to go, but she couldn't come back for like a month or something. And during that time, she would go into meditation and see the light going over her, and it completely went away. And it has never come back in 15 years.
That's amazing.
It's a
So,
true story.
so this is a light technology, correct?
Oh, yeah, it was based on Royal Rife's stuff, but Royal Rife lied. He told the truth in every single thing, but when he said what the frequencies were, he gave 6 or 7 of them. They weren't. He made them up. We know that for sure, and he never told the truth of what they really were. And so what we found, he probably wrote it down on a little piece of paper and then lost it or something. But he put ones what he put in his book were not true. In fact, the person who first did that, he killed over 800 people using those waveforms because they are not the ones that he actually originally found. So we could see that he moved them all mathematically the same amount. We moved them back to that place, and then we actually had his waveforms, but they were not Royal Rife waveforms, which had been made illegal in many states, California, a lot of them, you couldn't even use them, and because they thought they made cancer. And so
it's very specific, apparently, and obviously that, a specific frequency will either be resonant or disharmonic.
Well, the thing is I realized that when we had 100 doctors doing this around the United States using these machines, and they found out that it would either cure it within 2 minutes or maybe a second time or so, and or it would do absolutely nothing, just nothing at all. So it looked like a miracle, or thing wasn't working. And so that's when I did my work on what I was seeing from them and what the waveforms were. And I used sacred geometry to determine that there were actually 13 forms of this. And so we made a light that had all 13 of it in it. And we could just take anybody. I don't care what your problem was. You shine the light on and on. And so, and 3 days later, we were arrested by the FBI.
Wow.
And they didn't really arrest us. They never arrest me. They just come in and slap my hand and say, you can't do that. You can't do that. And we said, why? And they said, well, because the United States needs a certain number of people dying all the time or we can't stay alive. It's the exact opposite of Canada, which the better they can do it, the cheaper it is for them and the better it is. But we need people getting sick and dying. They had the cure for cancer a long time ago. They won't use it. And they can't, because how if everybody lived a long time in the United States, how would they be able to support keeping them alive through Social Security and things like this? We have to rethink everything. We have to rethink everything, and we're going to change the world completely. And we're going to have the ability to change the world, and we're going to make it so that there's no more illness. We don't need food to eat. We have everything we need really easily, and that's just makes us comfortable. But it will also raise us in consciousness, and we'll begin to see other things that are more important.
Yes, and you've gone into so many technologies. Can you speak on other ones that you might have been involved in or come across? I'm very curious.
Oh, I've been involved in a lot of technologies. We've got free energy machines going that have been going for 20 years. We've got a lot of things, but they won't let us put them out. They just won't. So where were we? We were, what were we talking about right before that?
Technologies.
Yes. Technologies.
Oh, technologies.
Yeah.
But
Oh man, there is so many things. If the secret government has spaceships right now that can go anywhere in the universe, just about, and can pass right through solid rocks and everything else, because they're using all of our technology that we know, and there's the technological world is amazing, but they won't let you use it. It's just like I had another friend who invented a free energy machine that you can put into a little suitcase, a little tiny one, and he studied, and that's when they would allow you to study free energy. You could do research in labs and in colleges and everything. But the United Nations made a law that nobody knew, and that is that you couldn't go into manufacturing. So he made $30 million worth of patents on this whole thing. He bought a manufacturing plant, set it all up, and was going to sell these things for $700. So you just take your house and unplug the thing that comes from the city, plug this into it, and now you have electricity for forever, as long as that machine doesn't get stolen or something. And and it would literally go forever. And the moment that he got the things running, the police came in, handcuffed him, took him to jail, and shut down the thing because you can't go into manufacturing. And they put a gag order on him, and then they removed the gag order after a while. And he sent me a copy of the law that nobody has seen, and it's about a 1/4 inch thick, and it basically says exactly that. No matter if it comes into over-unity generators or 0 point, which some people call that, but that's not a good name because that's temperature. It's not. There's other over-unity generator or free energy or things like that. It's a little better. It's easy. I've seen 42 of them. They all work. And there's a new one just being put out right now that is extraordinary. It really is. And he's having trouble for the same reason. And so, I don't know. Yeah, there's lots of things, but the thing is this: we don't need it. And in the Vedas, 5,000 years ago, they talk about this, and this is really important to know. They talk about how we're now, when we are here now, and how we're going to be flying around in metal boxes, and we're going to learn about electromagnetic fields and all these kinds of things. He says, and we get really into it, and they're talking about us right now. And then they say that a single day comes along, 24 hours, where we all, every one of us, realize that we don't need this stuff anymore, that anything that you can make a machine to do, the human body can do it without it, no matter what it is. And when we realize that, we just throw the stuff all away and say, okay, well, that was toys to a kid. And now we know we're on another level of consciousness, and we're going to keep going. Because just being able to do anything is not what it's really all about. There's more. When we get into higher levels, we're going to realize that people cooperate in ways to do things that are just beautiful and make beautiful life. And eventually we may come to something even more than that. I don't know. I'm still on this other world trying to figure it out. And they sent me down here, and I guess there's something I need to know here. And so I'm trying to learn everything I can. But don't worry about anything. If you can just stay happy, you'll find that your life gets easy and everything comes about easy. It's a huge secret, and it's a really important.
And it starts off from simplicity, right? That's what I feel.
Yeah, it's really simple, and as soon as you start worrying, then you go into fear, and you go into fear, you're helpless. And this is what all the governments want us to do. They want us to be in fear because they can control us when we're in fear. They can't control us when we're all happy, running around having fun. They can't do that. We got to be in fear, afraid of stuff, And so we got the coronavirus out here, getting people more in fear. If we all suddenly just went out of fear, coronavirus would just disappear. It wouldn't even exist. It needs fear to feed on fear.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a lot to learn really fast, and we're going to do it. And I'm going to put out 2 more books that I hope will make things go faster. And I'm not sure when they're going to come out. The first one with Awakening Illuminated Heart should be able to be done pretty quickly, and we may be able to get this up and running as an ebook in maybe 3-4 months. I don't know. We're going to try to do it really fast. And when that comes out, then we're then going to put it in 19 more languages digitally, so that when you have these specific 19 languages, it reaches 98% of the world. And we couldn't do these things until just recently.
Wow. Well, as what's happening right now as we speak this is being translated in 7 languages. Correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel.
Yeah. Well, it will go out a lot farther than just those 7 languages. Yeah. Especially if you have German and Japanese and Chinese also, I think.
Yes, hours after.
You have Arab.
Yeah.
Is it going out to the Arab world?
Unfortunately, not yet, but we'll have on the recording. So we have 7 languages simultaneously at this moment. Yeah. But on the recording, we're going to have many more. And I hope that Arabic will be one of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can't forget anybody.
No one's to be left behind.
Everybody is our brother and sister, and we can't let anyone go. We have to help everybody. And at one point, they're going to realize they're being helped, and they're going to like it. Anyway, I have to take a time check. Where are we at? I don't know.
We're at 10 past 1. Yeah, we can. If you need some more time, please.
Well, it's up to you. Ask a question. I don't know.
Daniel, you've been quiet.
Some questions.
Well, I'm listening.
Oh my goodness.
Did you try this? All of us, we slept with it and this. So both these things, we tried all of them. And
I just received mine yesterday.
Yeah.
But Kumar had another one, and I had that one, and I didn't know what it did. And I had no idea, so he says it blocks EMF waves.
Well, it harmonizes.
It changes the water in your body.
Yeah.
And this is important. Let me say this about that. Because I did research for a long time in the late 90s. And I discovered a team of scientists in Florida who had done massive work on this. And what they found is that the water in your body is either structured or unstructured. Yeah. And so what's the difference? If it's structured, it has all the outer electrons. It's a complete water molecule. But if it's missing one or more of those, it's unstructured. But what this team scientists found is that wherever you find disease in your body, wherever it is, the water that surrounds that disease is unstructured. And wherever you got healthy cells, it's always surrounded by structured water. And that's what this thing does. In order to get you so you aren't affected by electromagnetic fields, it structures all the water in your body. And so that in itself, it's going to, eventually people are going to realize that this is starting to heal everything. And so this is a really good thing to have. And I can see why the airlines, they bought 90,000 of these things or something.
18,000.
Because what it does, the other side effect is that, and we discovered this, my wife and I discovered this because my wife got in an automobile accident and it's hard for her to sleep all night long. Ever since we had this thing, she started sleeping all night long. And she goes, I never sleep all night by myself. This never happens. And so we finally figured out it has to be this thing because she was putting it behind the bed. And so then Kumar told me, oh, well, we know that it makes you sleep all night long. Well, I didn't know that. I'm one of the guinea pigs that found out that it's really true. And this is an amazing thing. This would help people in all kinds of ways. But the part about structuring the water is, for health reasons, is really extraordinary. And I know you don't have to say anything about it, but it's really extraordinary that it does that. There are other things. Slim Sperling made these coils that you can put over your body and bring up down your body, and it would also structure all the water in the body. but it wouldn't stay unless you had the coil there. And it's the same thing with this probably. If you remove this from your field, it would probably, maybe, I don't know, if it permanently did it, then this would be one of the most amazing things ever on earth. And it might, I don't know. But if it does it, what it's doing right now, it's worth the price. It's worth probably.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about it is all made from biological materials, so it's good. It's okay to touch on your skin. But anyways, go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, no, yeah, I can feel those kind of things. And then Daniel wanted to know about the flower of sunlight, CBDs. I've been studying CBDs for over 10 years, I'd say, and I was going by what they would sell me, and I couldn't find any changes in my body at all initially. And until I discovered, I mean, the ones that had 50 milligrams or then they got up to about 350, thinking that was better. Then I found a place that had 1,500 milligrams or higher. And that, when I started using that, I could actually feel the difference. So CBDs need to be on a high level. And Daniel did the right thing. It's at 1,500 milligrams. And so I just started taking this 4 days ago, so I can't tell you right now if it is, but you've got the right product with the right thing, and so by what I know, it should work. And
you told us something that was very interesting about hemp and the Chinese chart.
Oh yeah,
that was so interesting, and I think that lots of people don't know about that.
And I think even Jesus used it. He used it.
Yeah, Jesus definitely. I was making the oil that I made. I had to research what Jesus was doing, but Jesus, there were in that part of the world there were over 200 formulas, and Jesus' formula was a little different than most of the other one. 50% of it was marijuana. This is not you're smoking it. He was putting it on your feet, and along with frankincense and myrrh and a whole list of other things, and he put it on your feet. And I don't know about the healing effects of that or what, but that's what was going on. So there was another part to this. You wanted to know
the Taoist hemp, that big map with.
It's really important. Now you can buy this map. It's a poster. The Chinese have been studying plants for about 10,000 years or more, and they have condensed it into a poster, one poster, and it's this poster about, I don't know, it's 3 or 4 feet across in a square, and then in there is a circle that's around the outer side, and then they have plants listed all the way around that one circle, and then the circles go inside, and each circle has plants that go all the way around, and they're in between 2 other layers. So the circles keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until finally there's a little tiny circle in the middle that's solid. And in that plant is where cannabis is. The ancient Chinese considered cannabis the most important plant on earth, period, over anything.
What I heard is that cannabis is actually also one of the oldest plants on the planet in its botanical origin, and so for it to having survived billions and billions of years through the transformation of our planets, the wisdom within it is really anchored in the plant.
I don't really know the answer to that question. I do know that marijuana puts out more energy than just about any other plant in the world. That's how they can see them from helicopters way up in the air, because they just use infrared, and they're glowing in the dark. And but still, what I want, somebody showed me this from Japan, so I don't have one of these things, and he told me about this, and it does the circle that's directly around it. I really want to know what those plants are, because those are the ones that work best with marijuana. And so if somebody could find a copy of one of those things and just send me a digital photo, I would really like to have that.
So this could be an invitation for our Japanese translator at this moment. Anybody there that has this information can send it to us, can send it to the School of the Heart, and we can pass it.
It's not in Japan, it's in China.
It's Chinese, yeah. It's Taoist. I heard when I was in China, the Taoists were talking about that map. Yeah, we will find it.
Yeah, he was saying that in Chinese medicine, it's used in lots and lots of ways. So there's all kinds of combinations going out from there, the strings of things. I don't really understand it, but I saw what he was trying to tell me, that was for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to acknowledge a question that came in a while back. Viewers asking for the name of the movie about the water, which you mentioned.
Well,
what's the name of that movie?
That movie was made in Russia, and then it was sold to Gaia Inc., and then they redid it again.
Oh, I see.
And so I would have to get their permission.
Okay.
But I don't see why they wouldn't let it go, because they've been letting everybody else see it. I think you can even go on Gaia and see it. But when there's one thing in there, you talk about science, one thing they show that you gotta hear this. This is so crazy. They take 2 beakers of water, in a lab. It was about a couple quarts or something, kind of big, and they're separated by about that much space. I don't know, 1.5 inches to 2 inches away from each other. And then they put electricity into one of them. They ground it and put a flow of electricity moving through the water. And this thing happens. The water with electricity, it goes up the sides of the walls and then makes a little bridge and goes straight across to the other one, and then goes inside that one and begins to charge it up in the same way that it is.
It didn't want to feel left out.
How does water go across nothing? That's
wow.
It's in the video, and they show this
wow.
from a scientific point of view. And water is really conscious, but I had a long discussion with Dr. Emoto on this, because he was saying that water is the source of life. Mm-hmm. It is one of the sources. There are 5 platonic solids. Each one produces the fire, earth, air, water, and chi. And then the last one is where they all came from, which is void, nothing. And okay, see what I mean? I forgot where I was going on this.
The platonic solids.
The platonic solids.
Oh no, the platonic. Well, these. Okay, I know that. I know the. Okay, I got it. But I had a specific thing I was going to say about it, where
each of them produces life. Each of these 5 platonic.
Right. Life is produced. Originally, they said it came from pools of water, and all the amino acids and all these things got together. They don't believe that anymore. They know how life is a thing, because they're creating life in labs right now, and they've been doing it since about 1920 or somewhere around like that. And there was a guy who came in and found out that the only thing you need to make life is water, a rock, and a little flow of electricity through the water. And they pick certain rocks, like granite with crystals in them and stuff like that. And I watched that research that they were doing, where you put the rock in there, and the rock goes from just a rock. Nothing happens for about 2 or 3 months. And then all of a sudden on the surface of the rock, there becomes an etching of something. It could be a frog, it could be a little insect or something. And the etching, and then over time, the etching gets more three-dimensional until finally it actually comes up and starts crawling around on the rock and swimming in the water. And if it has wings, it will fly away from the water. Mm-hmm. And they did this with hundreds of things. And the Russians also discovered something called Vavilov centers. There's 13 it was Vavilov, a Russian, that discovered these. There's 13 centers in the world, places where every single day things come out of the ground that are never been seen before, ever, by anyone. They're brand new. And they stay there for a while, and then they might just go right back into the earth again. And I sent a team into Peru where they had to go through a long ways, and I had experts in there like on orchids and all kinds of other things, and they documented the fact that they were seeing things everywhere that were never recorded anywhere in the world before, and that and so he brought back they were an orchid that had never been recorded ever before, and they brought the actual orchid back, and so life doesn't need anything but electricity and water and some minerals, and that's it. You can and when I went in with the Mayans, and we went into a cave that was 28 kilometers long, and we went back into this room where this was the room where they say they emerged from deep inside the earth, and they came out there, and what I saw, you saw like iguanas, full size in the room, like somebody carved every little tiny detail on them, and monkeys and things. But you saw a lot of these Mayans where their faces were coming out and their hands were starting to come out, and they just didn't make it. And Don Alejandro Cerrillo, who was the head of the Mayan people at that time, had climbed up on a 15-foot ledge and was telling us how all this worked. And he was sitting on a ledge that had water and electricity running through it. and he was telling us how where they came from and how this is. This is what all the 555 tribes that are in the United States and the 55 tribes that are in Canada all have the stories of where they came out of the earth, out of the center, not the center of the earth, but out of the earth, and then came onto the earth and walked on the earth. There's so much we don't know, and when we really do know, it's going to be a lot more interesting than anything we ever thought of before, because so much stuff has been learned and then thrown away, and we can't use it, and all these other things. But we're going to come to a place where we're going to be able to connect directly into all life everywhere, and we can know anything. Anything that anybody knows anywhere in the universe, we can know it, and be able to use it. And so our evolution will go a lot faster, really fast.